CTV, Ghana's #1.
CTV Ghana's #1 so eni premo ato ne senti ebra so sen sama hodo a yensaka e wo fidwemu ha ye free amanone eye dwedie eni sikasem nsem de gibre na ye de esom wo se CTV ewia Ctv Kasiepo bo modern so be follow yen e wo Facebook ne so @myctv gi you like na wa share e de ama wo nyonko na wo no so enye bi a share ensem no edoso pa yen hwe ni a ebedimu akotene no ebi Eyade se Alhaji Seidu Agongo awoye eye Chief Executive Officer Emma Class Media Group on one so woye business mugu wakopie mu ewo mepe ede sika esum Ghana cedi no 400,000 ede akoma adehebinuma womo ewo mepe ene ne mpesua so honom One semfufro emuno oswafo a wo hye ensase ene oboade ne paso Samuel Abu Jinapo wode ato no ahye bedwafo animo se eye residence anase efia say clerk Emma Parliament wotim won wo kire se afimpi mienu ene dunum ne ton ena wo mo eton ye ye betwa bosompo na yakopie mu ewo bi ma so na eye Niger coup leader ade se wakọ eye Burkina akosra eye ne counterpart a wo mo ewo honom And some we are from so eka ho na me de esomo se CTV ewia Ctv Kasiepo ene eye fiada eye boja ye body so be follow yen e wo Facebook ne so @myctv you like na wa share e de ama onwonko na wono so enye bi a share Manye Nuekie ene medi ewia yi me ne osomfo Say afa say enansem no emu enchiremu no etie eye business mugu Alhaji Seidu Agongo ade se wo manfo a ye bie akosombo dama wo ho eka ye wo mepe ene ne importemu no wafa eye Ghana sika no dodo ayesom eye 400 Ghana cedis anase 400,000 Ghana cedis de akoye adoye wo mepe ene ne importemu na wo manfo a wo mo enya sika yimu chefa eye wo mo a wo mfie ekọ enimu ekunafo ene wo mo asebe womu ni pedwa no ho atochima afei so single mothers a womu ewo mepe ene ne importemu na nhwehwemu e kire se total anase nipa womu enya eye sika yimu chefa no eye 1015 womu ena wonya mu echefa na Albert Danyo ewa homa ne so a ye no ebe kasa na waboye sansem mu enchemu Albert otimenka
Manye mete wonka wie
be wa ha ba CTV Ctv Kasiepo so
Meda siminwa ba
na moko mepe no sen ene hotie se nsuo no awie ye free ho ansa na yakosika no so
Manya unim say 15th of September 2023 and Volta River Authority edebetu just said the akoso budam no nsuo no level na akosro ne ho behia say omo bie na nsuo ni bie free say the be adam no ensay and from the 15th of September 2023 ya there monu nyina ewo Volta River no ase ofa mepe ofa bato ofa sogwakope mafia di dome up to adande ye bi nsuo no na eni enyan because nsuo no eyiri efa amanfo ejapadie omo dai omo business omo capital enti eneye ba mepe no na ye fu se bi mpo a busumi echi die situation no ano abrase Bamanye no kreye ba ko oba enkofu fia ebubu enkofu machine shops asai emrewafo ekunafo a sebi budja business ano omo ye di hwefie omo nyina ene ye do makogu school bi ma omo adoye na sorry komo mediani di enti situation na wa ha ne de asefem na ano so eden pa
na wokodru ye wo se asefem se omotibia mu na etese ne ye se wo mo aye like omunya bibidi anasa na eti ansa na mo moko
sisi ano de adofo any philanthropist to say Alhaji Seidu Agogomo Magdamo any nemo de banana enipa no bebre na ye chemo na de asefem poni say encheye na ban ni betu dwa e wo budget mu say 220 million Ghana cedis and round so chief of staff from parade betu dwa say mu 40 million de o ma cheche na over ground sa na nakasa ozi abaisika now wacheche no de omudie ebi meka omonsa na anko any corporate Ghana adoye ni mum na sisi omude survive na semni si ye busumi ba ku echi ni aduane kakro munya ye nsu kakro munya ni nyina asa a chese oba ha asem no eni nyan pa manye.
Okay, ma yenhwe Alhaji Seidu Agongo adoya okoye ye ewo mepe ene ne importe musika wode koye na eye 400,000 Ghana cedis na no e sika no 4 billion ye bisa se hwan ene wo che ede ma wo mo
manya wonse enkofo bebre ya adoye na de ma Alhaji Seidu Agongo de ede mo sonko ene se wo hwe enipo target ye na eyo mo a satrentem si a omotai tirom be nipa ni enkom so once a trenching we see and go for charge but one wording idea. Omutimi di gidi no makwaji nemani bi. Na should be an enabubu, should be a when you're 80 years, should be a single mother, should be a widow. Sound call for most at times any refuse. Enti and mandate na large de by and say, ye chadie, nasa in nipa shrunku where your mumutimi mano. Or no mum say a prime target. Into a nipa of 1,158, no mesany 1,158, and a class media group, the penny or diano, Alhaji Seidu Agogo, with Jessica 400 million Ghana cedis, a 4 billion. Ya register ma, semino kase ye Jessica, aha aye butu.
Albert ye misa kwan ban e no fa so e de chesika no wode hye omo akasa nsem ana se wode manipa bi e ma wono e na wode chesika no e de ma wo mo
enti butaye we ebesi nene so no oma adwuma mu mpanifo edi kan ba ha enti ye wode Mepe Development Association and the Mepe Traditional Council ana ahemfo wa ha enti sa body mienu we and omani Ctv CMG collaborate ya do enti nipa ne de ya register mu egu wode daada enti oba ye bo din ani edu sika amaw manye din ti a sa donation we sonko ne say most of times in comfort me sika ba but because of party colors because of winning big man because one oben we ninti ubenya bi obinya bi enti Alhaji say ono de ompeni njeje mo ompeni no bia obi biara ni din what this 1,158 no oba ye bodi ani edu envelope show nsema ene enija baha obi ani ma ye sere a ye di agbaje sima chese oba mepe a which most spirit no has been lifted because of this donation
enti moma o musika no ewie ye no dan e na manfo no eka ye nsem ban e na wode to manim
bebre na ani age because manye se bosume ba ko achi na atoyentem kesie we asi na ye ready budget ye bo figures chief of staff bo figures but ubedru ha no and reflect ye will be able to individual donations no momo na etimi aba enti sika we ebe di omonsem ne de omani age papa na as Oliver Twist said de be ka no omosi we no de eye na de ye even interest in is na Alhaji kura e de kan abeye donation de they no de money sugar ni issue eba ye enti eye aman cladwa owo mepe eye togbe kwesi nigo the 6 togbe kwesi nigo the 6 e kasa no say eye nipa bebre adwen say sika we pe en Alhaji de baba de bi we di kan de mo cement sugar any nema ba enti we do de be peso say de be ya omo mpeso mu ye budwa business kakra omo mo peso mu regroup no mutimi jino mo na zo kakra no e serve as seed money a or the Pia said the bay on beach may be a mom. Winter and then me pay idea any jabba. But on they are the Sedian so air to Ghana for when you name say. Wa obeti sanka bweni adoye alaji abeye onso bra na beyomo adoye.
Albert my nasi yemreniti.
Miss Medas Manye.
Ebusa for Albert Daniel and no kokasa ye no ye friend no efri eye mepe e na makoso moda ma via reform e bia nam so e ma nipadro na wo mo e fra mantem ho e ka ye no e na see you e ma class media group ekoye adoye edema ebinum ewo mepe ene ne mpotemu yento ansem no so ewo ensem foforo emu na oswafa ohye nsase ene oboade ne paso Samuel abu ginapo wode atomno ahye badwafo enimo se edan a eye residence anase edan a clerk ema parliament wotemu sesi ano wo chese afimpimienu ene dunum ne muton ena ye ton sa edan ne mum no enye afimpimienu ene edu enkronem ene ton ye Wafo ohye ensase ene oboade ne paso numunyamfo Samuel abu ginapo wabra wone mrasebedwafo ekasa ena wode tu dwa se ensase ayeka ho asemi eyade se aban a wabetwam kro no wono ena woton sansase no edema eye private developer bia eye afimpimienu ene dunumnim ena woton sansase no afei nso safi kro nim ena wo mo kire emre anase mfie dodo a nipa no ebetumi edi ewasase no so wabra wo mo eye debate ewo mrasebedwafie ho ehwe afimpimienu no any edona budget ya ye photo sanfo ken oforiata ebekenkan ye ma wo my Ghana fo na Samuel abu ginapo editu just say records a wo mo ewo land commission no enya de se wo bi ebetumi atoto ma no ewo sansam sanse afimpimie no any dunum ne ton ena sansasi ye de ema ya na se ye ton ye oto aso editu just say wo sanfi na mu aye afimpimie no any dunum na mu ena ye de letter na se nkrata ede ma ye private developer ya ye de assassin ema no a wo che say abanda da
Mr. Speaker, I want to address the subject matter of land administration. Mr. Speaker, if you allow me, just as my friend talked about the sale of UNESCO lands, I want to submit, Mr. Speaker, that first of all, I will respectfully advise that we should be careful in making for want of a better expression, Mr. Speaker, sweeping statements such as that UNESCO building is being sold. Mr. Speaker, when you get into the records, in many cases, as it always should be with land administration is governed by facts and records. And so the state of a particular parcel of land can only be ascertained through the facts and records. Mr. Speaker, respectfully, I'm not too sure that anybody will quarrel with me or doubt that the repository of the records for land in our country, by law, by the Constitution, is vested in the Lands Commission. And so there's been many occasions, Mr. Speaker, where it is said that UNESCO land is being sold by an offer letter in 2015, having been granted a lease in 2015, took possession in 2019. So by all intents and purposes, Mr. Speaker, the land was sold in 2015 and not 2019.
Ctv area from Ctv Kasiepo when you go to our share with Ctv Ghana's #1 so body super follow yen Facebook and so at my Ctv GH like I don't share ama wonyon na wono so enye bi ahye yento aso na yenko enim e wo sansem kona emu na last minister wode atodwa wo kire se gold for oil policy no eyade se aboa wo my Ghana papa wo kire se afini a wo mo ede sa policy anase nhye no ebaye na enum no Ghana's total crude oil consumption a yetumi ato ayede eye gold for oil policy no ede ato no wo kire se ebru 800,000 metric tons.
Mr. Speaker, let me begin by situating my contribution to the debate in its proper context and to say, Mr. Speaker, that countries across the globe, including the most developed countries, have had their own share of the recent global crisis. Mr. Speaker, the worst since World War II. Mr. Speaker, it is in that context that I proceed to contribute to the debate on the motion as it relates to the lands and natural resources sector of our country. Mr. Speaker, in times of crisis, what is required is leadership. In times of crisis, what is required is leadership. And leadership as it relates to choices. Leaders must make the right choices in times of crisis. Mr. Speaker, it is on that basis that I submit that in this time of global crisis, unprecedented global crisis, President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo and his government have made the right choices, the consequential choices, the choices which have far-reaching implications for the forward march of our country. And Mr. Speaker, I refer specifically to that innovative program dubbed the Gold for Oil program. Mr. Speaker, under the distinguished leadership of President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, the Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, Mr. Speaker, I should emphasize, the most distinguished Vice President in the Fourth Republican dispensation, thought about, formulated, and implemented, Mr. Speaker, the bold Gold for Oil program. And Mr. Speaker, the Gold for Oil program is alongside the domestic gold purchase program of the Central Bank, the Bank of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, maybe I should explain. Until the introduction of the Gold for Oil program, the Bank of Ghana's reserves when it comes to gold was totally insignificant. And through the domestic gold purchase program, today our nation, a gold-producing nation, can say proudly that the reserves of the Bank of Ghana when it comes to gold is shorter. And this is what culminated in the Gold for Oil program. Mr. Speaker, 30% of our national consumption have been purchased through the Gold for Oil intervention. And that has resulted in a reduction of fuel prices in our country. And Mr. Speaker, specifically, you will see that in November 2022, the price of the exchange rate stood at 17 Ghana cedis. By November 2023, the exchange rate had dropped to 12 Ghana cedis as a result of this intervention. Mr. Speaker, this policy was implemented by the Vice President. That is why I say in times of crisis, you need bold leaders who will make the right decisions. And that is why I salute the Vice President for coming up with this policy, the Gold for Oil program. Mr. Speaker, governance is about choices, governance is about ideas, governance is about thinking through the issues, governance is about effective implementation. And Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, as he's done all through his public life, has demonstrated that he has the capacity to make the right decisions.
Ebusa for yanto ansem no so na yenko yenim na abeto dwa se eye Greater Accra Regional Hospital aye friend Reg Hospital no edru eye phase so ese aban no hye na osi ediwie na so bepem ne enya de se aban no aye ne senti dom kuma wo ma hye bedwefie e de sobo no e bo aban ne se enka me se wayi nani e de ama Reg Hospital.
Let it be known, short cutting and commissioning are not procurement processes. Yes, short cutting and commissioning are not procurement processes. So this idea that you can wait and do a short cutting, sometimes twice, sometimes do short cutting twice, and recommissioning is not a procurement process. The fact still remains. Mr. Speaker, I would always give credit, and I've said this a number of times. Mr. Speaker, it was President Kufuor who actually developed and sought funding for Dam project. The real construction took place under NDC. But have we ever had any NDC person taking credit for Dam before? We don't.
Yeah, they were five.
Mr. Speaker, you have got some. Mr. Speaker, I think my colleague is eager to debate. The opportunity is there for him to take a slot and debate. But the one he said, let it be known between you and the good people of Tolon, the hospital they enjoy today was by President Mahama, not Dr. Bawumia or anybody. Mr. Speaker, let me move on. With health, Mr. Speaker, health is very important. Today, we can boast of Accra Regional Hospital called Reg Hospital. Mr. Speaker, you may be aware that is just one of the phases. The second phase of that project has been suspended by the President Akufo-Addo government to date. Interestingly, today, as we speak, Mr. Speaker, right opposite while they abandon the Reach Hospital, the next phase, they are building a $250 million Bank of Ghana headquarters opposite. Choose between healthcare and the headquarters of Bank of Ghana. Which one will you choose? Mr. Speaker, today we can boast of many health facilities under President Mahama. Very importantly, I don't remember the last time a government has started and completed to today. There are people who go to university in Ho, University of Health and Allied Sciences, and become medical doctors. You can go to Cape Coast and do medicine in Cape Coast. These are tangible and sustainable ways of developing healthcare in our country. Which university have you started and completed in your 7 years? Pardon, which one? Mr. Speaker, the record is abysmal. So let it be known. You don't need 7 years to build one district hospital. Okay, as for Agenda 111, it's true. There are many construction sites dotted around the country called Agenda 111. Mr. Speaker, but let it be known, you said you'll do it in 18 months. The truth is that, Mr. Speaker, it is possible that some of those buildings, civil works may be completed, but we do not have any money in this budget to equip and make all those hospitals functional within the time of President Akufo-Addo. It will be left for the next government to find finances to complete those hospitals. And I'm not saying hospitals are not necessary, they are necessary. So let the chairman be aware what we have done.
For ya daswa ewo amanyosem emu na yemo eruemu enche ye bia na NPP amanyoko no ekwa abato eyi nipa obedi NPP amanyoko nanim na makoto aba eye afempim ye no ene edunan na wosansem num na eye minority chief whip governs Agboja watiti bi ede amane mrahye bedwani ema de hia wo ewo ayawa so West Wogon Lydia Alhassan se wonompo NPP presidential elections and course one and saying term nya de se woto aba no ede ma mampani abedechi Dr. Mahamudu Baumia.
All NPP MPs now want Ken Ofori-Atta removed by majority leader. You didn't want the person to be the finance minister. Yet you hear the budget, you are giving him funds. You cannot be trusted. None of you can be trusted because you cannot walk your talk. If you can be trusted, you should have asked. In fact, the day he was reading the budget, you should have read the room. So all of you, including even the deputy whip, didn't vote for the president. How do you call it? Vice president. So I'm saying that when you have a situation, the person who read the budget, you didn't want him to read the budget. The vice president who wanted to be your candidate, almost 40% of you rejected him. Yet you want him to be the one giving us the future. In fact, he lost in your constituency, Honorable Lydia. So what is the point? The vice president lost in your constituency. I don't even know what you are standing up to do. Did he not lose in your constituency? He lost. He lost even Honorable Afenyo's constituency. You and him didn't vote for him. As a majority leader, he probably voted for him because he wanted to be running mate. But you didn't vote for him. You did not vote for him. So sit down, sit down. You can talk. You cannot talk. You sit down. Mr. Speaker.
What Honorable Swig just did, it is an attack on me, and I want him to withdraw that now. I am serious about this. You cannot do this to me on the floor of the House. I take serious objection to that. And you cannot start the campaign here on the floor of the House. It is serious, and I want you to withdraw it now. Thank you.
You rightly. What is it that he should withdraw?
Of the presidential primaries from Ayawaso, West Wogon.
Honorable,
Honorable
Majority Leader,
yes,
you haven't answered my question.
Yes, I'm going to answer the question. I said, Honorable Dr. Baumia got 444 votes in her constituency. Honorable Ken Japan got 531 votes from the constituency. Statistically, he is one of those people who didn't vote for Dr. Baumia. That is, I said it. Statistically, she is one of those people who didn't vote for Dr. Baumia. How do you prove? Okay, you can prove that you voted for him. Prove that you voted for him.
Ebisafo ya twa esem no eso galamsey to ese wo my Ghana yensa se yensuo ene ye kwaye ahodo wei enam so emamra hyebedwani ema de hia wo ewo tabale north alhassan suini watete bi e de amane aban na wo chese nka ma sesese no wei nani e de free galamsey to ehwe san se afempi mienu ene edu na budget akanufuri ato be kenka ye no enya da se wo bo galamsey to so ewo Wabra mrashebedwani ema de hia wo ewo tabale north alhassan suini ekasa ene wadi tu dwa se wafempi mienu ene edu na budget akanufuri ato yo my Ghana photo sanfo ebe kenka ye no enya de se wadi tu dwa anase wo kire kwan a aban no pese wo faso na wadi tu galamsey tu ase ewo my Ghana mu esan se nei galamsey tu ese yensa ase yensuo ene ye kwaya hodo onmonyamfo suhini eto aso edi tu dwa se aban no ebe tena so no wadi tu dwa se galamsey no ase tu eye ne twade hunu ba kopa wade ne office kura ebe to so no waboa ama yetumi etu galamsey ase ewo my Ghana mu na so wafempi mienu ene edu na budget ya kenufori ata ebe kenka ya de se waka nsem bi ede afa ho
a critical murder weapon for close examination in this crime scene. And I say so because when you look at the budget statement, the 39 or 40 pages that the Minister of Finance presented, not even one word was said about galamsey. You will not find the word galamsey in that presentation. This was an act that the president put his presidency on the line to overcome. He apologized after his first term and said he was launching the fight the second time. Shouldn't we be asking ourselves why this time in the budget statement not even once has the galamsey word been mentioned? After we have spent millions and millions of Ghana cedis. Indeed, the former chair of the Interministerial Committee, Professor Frimpong Boateng, clearly revealed the shame and the embarrassment that can cause the government to want to shy away from galamsey. But we shouldn't, because we are suffering the effects of those acts. Then
Ctv Kasiepo and I do so no yemo enruemwe na lecturer ewo eye School of Science or University of Ghana Professor Richard Bani what they ato aban animo say one pe kwan obe fa so say beye na wo my Ghana ye nuane ahodo no ye betimi esie Wabra okasa wodwumedie no ase ena wode to dwase hoba my Ghana mu a ekwiafo ebom homoden edi enduane dodo no a eba bonti nanso so ade ba ko akasa aban no ebeye ne se aban no ede esika ebehye se de beya ye betimi enya niema bi ebetimi ekura enduane no ache esanse sanyema no eni wontini ti bi nkura eduane no enche enti no eba bonti a ebesendefua anampo se na woji kakra bi ne enduane ne nyina no asei na oman no ahwere sika Kasiepo Professor Richard Bani etwa kasa so de tudwa bra okasa no trese aban ne momode se ode ne sika ebehye se de beya management fo yomo ehwe farm produce no eho ensensem no omo so betimi aboa ma enduane no ache.
We are doing everything that is right. We are producing enough food, that is true, but we are wasting also a lot of food because of poor post-harvest practices. We need to invest more on post-harvest infrastructure to enable us save the food that we produce. By post-harvest infrastructure, we are looking up for storage structures, improved storage structures for both durables and then refrigerated storage facilities for perishables, refrigerated trucks to move our produce from the production areas to the marketing centers. These are all infrastructure, and of course, finally, good roads. If you go to the Ministry of Agriculture, they have the blueprints, the strategies to ensure that what I'm talking about is done. It is only a matter of time, and of course we need resources to be able to improve our infrastructure. We just need to increase our production with the latest technologies that do not affect the environment. We need to have storage structures that will store our produce.
Enwechi ena capacity building and education officer Emma Youth Climate Council Ghana Ernest Ofori also odinsemwe etudwe.
Bia ote keta a nsuo yiri no na obi ote Accra a nsuo nyiri no onen ni ote keta hwan na esese ma climate change ho dwumadia esese ye de kɔ ewose ni ote keta no ye hwese omoso benya education hia na enkwa Accra nkwa no ne justice no ebe make sure say nkra ne omo ni omo titi nkra omo feed on agriculture insuo ne be yiri omo form insuo ne e form nnuane ne bibia no omo so ye be make sure say omo so ye ka omo asem e kire ewiase ne wiase hu omo nsunsanso climate change wo ema omo nti ebia na ye cite example say ade si wo mepe no Water Regions Village no air climate change in
Ctv Kasiepo no ewo bi manso na ye ko Niger man no emu na Efrida abantugo ekọ so ewo Niger man ma fei e na cool leader eye Abdul Tayani enrada woni the counterpart a wo mo ewo Mali ene Burkina Faso ekoshiai
ni ya oye dom no odnani akire mu ewo Mali ena afi Burkina Faso se wo kwosra ni nuanu wi a wotimi agina pintin agina nachi ama bra ya oye dom agi tumi no wa makwan ema ne chanfo anasa ama bia no ani abre pese obegi tumi ni free ni cement wi mu rani kro Niger mum Niger strap ni General Abdurrahman Tiani ena wo kire se sa bredie ewo se obeda Burkina fo ena afi Mali fo ase sanse drudi mu atene no twena din ehwe bia wo mo ena na agina nachi se de Mali eni Burkina Faso e kan ba kire mu Tampengoma ejina won naso no ekromien akwa pam ya efimfimpi mienu ni aduonu ni mu abepimfimpi mienu ni aduonu mienu tiem saafo nyina no ye dom agitumi efiri wo mu ayato abade ama wo mu a no osusu se ahokyere ene bo a wo hye manfo no so wo ba mo ho ahenha wo no enye no ena odi so enam so ematiani oduru Burkina Faso na no ya wada no no kyere se ama mienu enyonkofa no e wo se ejina ne naso pa Burkina peni ya wo no so agitumi edi afiri aban ayato aba no ho no e Captain Ibrahim Traore na one no ehyiaye ma enipa mienu toato atwene bebre anobaba ya oye nyina no ehwe enkabom ni mpuntu afa ebetimi aboa ema ekroni mienu fa ne ntoma pa efra sa nipa yi ekyerese aman ya wo mo ehye wase no wonta emwa wo mo eni nti wo pese wo de wo hunya wo fa huti free sanko asom no mu na afi wo hwese etweatea hodo ene asekyere mu abenesie a emfa mpuntu papa bia emre wo mo no oyi
Kasiepo no esi bedase se woje bra wo hwe ye production team ni nyina bedamase Manye Nuekie enemy di madase amomo enesha makra